9:42 local time. North of Bandar Abbas, above a fortified ammunition depot buried into the hills, a GBU-31 JDAM drops from 11,800 feet. It cuts through smoke, it falls fast, then it hits reinforced concrete. For one short moment, the bunker holds, then the roof lifts. A blast tears through the structure from the inside, followed by secondary explosions as missile fuel and stored munitions begin to ignite. A black column climbs more than 2,300 feet into the sky. The shockwave reaches Mustang 12, flying 3.4 miles away, and rattles the canopy hard enough for the pilot to feel it through his gloves. But this is not where the mission began. This is the moment everything has been leading to. To understand how Mustang 11, Mustang 12, and Wizard 31 reached this point, we have to go back nearly 40 minutes. Before the radar locks, before the missile launches, before the low-altitude run through MANPADS territory. If you enjoy tense military aviation stories like this, subscribe to the channel, because before this bunker exploded, the mission was already close to falling apart. 8:58 local time. Over the Gulf of Oman, Mustang 11 and Mustang 12 are flying north toward Bandar Abbas at 24,500 feet. Two FA-18 Super Hornets. Clean formation, steady speed, no visible threat. On the mission display, the ammunition depot sits 96 kilometers ahead, buried in the hills beyond the industrial edge of the city. Satellite imagery from the last 6 hours shows movement around the site. Trucks entering, trucks leaving, heat signatures near the storage bunkers. Enough activity to make the target worth the risk. But the sky is quiet, too quiet. There is no wide search radar sweeping across the formation, no missile guidance tone, no sudden warning from the ALR-67 radar warning receiver. Just engines, radio discipline, and the soft pulse of navigation data counting down the distance. Behind them, offset to the east by 18 nautical miles, Wizard 31 holds position in an EA-18G Growler. Same basic airframe as the Super Hornet, but this aircraft is not here to drop bombs. It is here to keep the others alive. Under its wings are ALQ-249 next-generation jammer pods and AARGMER missiles. Built for the moment, an Iranian radar decides to speak. The briefing said the main threats were Khordad and Mustang batteries hidden somewhere in the ridgelines. Systems that can stay dark for hours, waiting for a target to cross the wrong line on a map. At 89 kilometers, Mustang 11 makes a small heading correction. Nothing reacts. At 84 kilometers, Mustang 12 checks the eastern hills. Still nothing. That is the problem. A dead radar is safe. A silent radar is waiting. 9:11 local time. The silence ends at 112 kilometers. Mustang 11's ALR-67 lights up with a hard spike from bearing 338. Not a lazy search radar. Not an old system sweeping circles across empty sky. This is focused, narrow, intentional. Somewhere in the mountains ahead, a Khordad battery has powered on and started building a firing solution. Mustang 11 calls the threat. Behind the formation, Wizard 31 moves first. The EA-18G Growler pushes its ALQ-249 next-generation jammer pods into the fight. 3 pods, multiple bands. Enough electronic power to turn the Khordad operator's clean display into unstable noise. For a few seconds, it works. Range data breaks apart. Altitude numbers jump, the track quality drops. But the Khordad crew does not panic. They tighten the beam into a smaller cone and hold it on both Super Hornets. The search picture gets worse, but the lock gets stronger. At this range, they need about 8 seconds of clean data. They get 5. Too close. Wizard 31 fires an AARGM-ER. The missile drops from the rail, catches the radar's last known position, and drives toward the source at high speed. The Khordad operator cuts power, but the address is already stored. 39 seconds later, the radar array disappears in a flash. Then comes the secondary blast. A support vehicle or power unit beside the site ignites, throwing flame and debris nearly 650 feet into the air. If you enjoy this kind of tense military aviation storytelling, subscribe to the channel, because that explosion solved one problem and created the next one. Wizard 31's jamming just told every hidden receiver in Hormozgan province where the strike package was coming from. 9:18 local time. North of Bandar Abbas, the first GBU-31 JDAM is already falling. Mustang 11 released it from 11,800 feet, far below the planned attack altitude. The jet should have been higher, cleaner, faster, safer. It is none of those things now. The bomb does not care. Its GPS tail kit has the coordinates. Its fins are correcting in tiny movements several times every second, steering almost a ton of steel toward a bunker built into the hillside. The weapon cuts through the smoke layer. It vanishes for half a second. Then it hits. The reinforced roof holds just long enough to make the blast worse. Pressure builds inside the structure, trapped between concrete walls and stored munitions. Then the bunker opens. A flash pushes out through the front entrance. The roof lifts. A second later, the depot answers with its own fire. Missile fuel, rocket motors, and stored warheads begin cooking off in a chain of secondary explosions. A black column climbs past 2,300 feet, and the shockwave runs across the valley hard enough to shake Mustang 12 from 3.4 miles away. That is the explosion, but it nearly never happened. 4 minutes earlier, Mustang Flight was still fighting to stay alive. After the Khordad battery was destroyed, Wizard 31's jamming signal did more than protect the formation. It also exposed it. Passive receivers across the province could not see the aircraft clearly, but they could read the direction of the electronic attack. That was enough. At 9:14, another radar came alive from the northwest ridge. Different frequency, different pattern, different problem. Mustang 11's warning display called it MANPADS. The ALQ-249 pods on Wizard 31 were still tuned against Khordad's band. Retuning them took only a few seconds. In electronic warfare, a few seconds is a long time. In missile defense, it is almost everything. The Mersad Illuminator locked the formation and sent 2 missiles off the rails at more than Mach 3.4. Mustang 11 and Mustang 12 dove hard, trading altitude for geometry. 24,500 feet became 14,000, then 12,000. Fuel burned fast. Options disappeared faster. Both Super Hornets turned into the threat and released chaff from their AL-47 dispensers. Mustang 12's cloud opened clean behind the jet. Mustang 11's did not. 2 cartridges failed to eject. 4 bundles came out instead of 6. The decoy was thinner, weaker, and fading too quickly. The first missile chased Mustang 12's stronger chaff return and detonated behind the formation. No hit. The second stayed with Mustang 11. For one brief moment, the pilot could see the contrail sliding toward his dive line. Then Wizard 31 finally caught the Mersad frequency. The jamming took hold. The missile lost the reflected return, drifted low, and fell into the Gulf. Wizard 31 fired its last AARGM-ER. 38 seconds later, the Mersad battery went silent. Mustang Flight survived, but survival had a price. The Growler was out of anti-radiation missiles. The fighters were low, their fuel state was worse than planned, and the safest altitude for avoiding radar had just pushed them closer to the one threat that needed no radar at all. Below them were rooftops, roads, warehouses, and men with shoulder-fired missiles watching the sky. 9:24 local time. Mustang Flight is alive, but alive does not mean safe. Mustang 11 and Mustang 12 are now down at 4,300 feet, racing north through the industrial corridor south of Bandar Abbas. To the east are the ridge lines. To the west is the city. Ahead of them, the depot is still burning. Behind them, the 2 F414 engines on each Super Hornet are running hot enough to turn the aircraft into bright targets for every infrared seeker in the area. The ALR-67 is quiet. That is the problem. It can warn the pilot about radar energy. It can call out a tracking beam. It can tell him when a system like Khordad or Mersad is looking at him. But a shoulder-fired infrared missile does not need radar. It does not announce itself. It just launches. On a warehouse roof near the airport perimeter, an IRGC fighter raises a MISOG-2 launcher and tracks the sound of the engines. The seeker finds the heat trail behind Mustang 11. The tone steadies. He fires. The missile leaves the tube in a hard white burst, climbing through the haze from Mustang 11's rear quarter. No cockpit alarm, no radar spike, no warning tone. Just a missile already in the air. Mustang 11 makes a small correction toward the coast. Only 6 degrees. Almost nothing on the map. But enough. The turn pulls the engine exhaust out of the missile's narrow seeker view. The guidance cannot reacquire in time. The missile passes behind the jet and detonates more than 90 meters away. No damage. Mustang 12 sees the flash first. Possible launch, south side, rooftop. Now Mustang 11 stops trusting the quiet cockpit. He lifts his scan outside. Roads, overpasses, container yards, flat roofs. 3 minutes later, the second launch comes from the north edge of the warehouse district. This time he sees it. A white smoke trail from 2 o'clock low, climbing fast toward his exhaust. Mustang 11 brakes right and punches the AL-47. MJU-53 flares tumble into the air behind him, burning hotter than the engine plume. The missile hesitates between the real jet and the brighter decoys. Then it chooses wrong. The warhead detonates about 45 meters behind the aircraft, close enough to shove a dull thump through the frame. The jet keeps flying. No warning light, no fire, no second chance wasted. And ahead through the smoke and heat, Mustang 12 still has one bunker left to hit. 9:31 local time. Mustang 12 is 30 seconds behind the lead jet. That sounds like time? It is not. At 480 knots, 30 seconds is almost 4 nautical miles of sky disappearing under the nose. The first bunker is burning hard now, and the smoke from Mustang 11's hit is spreading across the attack lane like a moving wall. Black smoke, white flame, hot air climbing from the hillside. The target is still there, but the view is gone. A laser-guided bomb would have a problem here. It needs a clear line to the aim point. It needs the target to stay visible. The GBU-31 JDAM does not. It already has the coordinates. The Wizzo in the back seat of Mustang 12 checks the fuel again. The number is ugly. There's enough for one pass, one turn south, and a direct run back to the carrier. Nothing more. No re-attack, no correction, no second try. Mustang 12 climbs to 12,200 feet, still about 6,800 feet below the original release plan. The jet is heavy with speed but light on choices. The pilot steadies the nose through the edge of the smoke and waits for the release cue. 3 seconds, 2, 1 pickle, 2 GBU-31 JDAMs drop clean from the aircraft. Nearly 4,000 pounds of guided steel fall into the heat rising from the depot. Their tail kits wake up, fins move, the bombs begin correcting toward the programmed coordinates, even as the smoke hides the ground from everyone in the cockpit. Mustang 12 pushes through the outer edge of the debris cloud. The aircraft jolts hard. A thermal updraft catches the left wing and rolls the jet several degrees before the pilot brings it back. For a moment, the canopy fills with ash, smoke, and orange light from burning propellant below. Then the first JDAM hits near the entrance of the second bunker. Concrete breaks. Dust punches outward. The second weapon arrives deeper into the structure. This blast is lower than the first one, but wider. Fire spreads along the hillside in bright lines as stored rocket motors begin to burn. A smoke column climbs between 1,700 and 1,900 feet, folding into the larger cloud already hanging above the depot. Mustang 11 confirms the hit. Wizard 31 calls the exit heading south. The mission is complete, but nobody stays to admire it. The Growler has no AAR-GM-ER left. The Super Hornets have no fuel to waste. And behind them, the depot keeps burning as Mustang Flight turns for the sea. 9:39 local time. Mustang Flight turns south. Behind them, the ammunition depot is still burning. 2 bunkers are gone. Secondary fires are spreading through the hillside. The smoke column is now wide enough to be seen from more than 30 miles away. On the tactical display, the mission looks complete. In the cockpit, it does not feel that simple. Wizard 31 has no AAR-GM-ER missiles left. The EA-18G Growler can still jam, but it can no longer kill another radar site if one comes alive on the escape route. Mustang 11 and Mustang 12 are low on fuel. Not empty, not critical yet, but close enough that every climb, every turn, every extra minute now matters. The numbers are tight. A direct route to the carrier, a shallow climb over the water, no return to the target, no spare pass, no room for pride. The last 40 minutes have taken almost every advantage they had at the start. Altitude, fuel, surprise, anti-radiation missiles, clean attack geometry, all of it spent. And that is what makes this mission dangerous. Not one single threat. The chain. Khordad forced Wizard 31 to reveal itself. Mirsad forced Mustang Flight down from altitude. The low route brought them into range of Masag 2 launchers. The first explosion created the smoke that made Mustang 12's attack harder. Every problem created the next one. From my point of view, that is the most important part of this story. Modern air combat is not only about who has the more expensive aircraft or the smarter weapon. It is about timing, coordination, fuel, sensors, human judgment under pressure. The ALQ-249 kept the formation alive. The AAR-GM-ER removed the radar threats. The MJU-53 flares pulled a heat-seeking missile away at the last moment. And the GBU-31J DAM finished the mission when visibility was already falling apart. But none of those systems worked alone. A pilot still had to see the smoke trail. A Wizzo still had to run the fuel numbers. A Growler crew still had to retune before seconds ran out. So what do you think? What was the real reason Mustang Flight survived? The jamming, the missiles, the pilots, or the fact that every crew member made the right decision before the wrong one became fatal.